to Killtocraft Podcast, episode 23, I think. I'm Vanessa, I'm the host. Welcome. This is a polycraftual podcast, primarily about knitting, and I sometimes spin, crochet, sew. I do a little bit of everything. So welcome back, and hello any new viewers. Hello. Welcome. So today I kind of forgot that I was meant to do an episode. You think that me not being able to walk as much would mean I'd remember, but then I got busy and kind of forgot. It sidetracked me, and then I realised it's 6:15 in the evening on a Saturday, and I was like, oh, when did I last podcast? And I thought it was last weekend. It was the weekend before that. It's been a couple of weeks already. So, hello, I'm here, ready, kind of. I've not got any show notes, but I'll try and remember as much as I can. So you can find me over on Instagram as Nessa Townley, and you can find me on Ravelry as Killtocraft, and you can find our Ravelry group over there, which is the Killtocraft Podcast Group. And welcome, and thank you any new people that have joined the group. It's lovely to have you. And we've also had a giveaway over in the Ravelry group. If you have been over there, this giveaway's had more viewers than it's had people that have actually participated, which I find strange. It's a giveaway, it's a treat for you guys. So I was kind of like a bit baffled as to why people would just read and not participate. But anyway, we had a giveaway over on the Ravelry group, so if you've been over there you'll have seen, and it was for Mina Phillips' beautiful Le Milieu shawl, which is a brioche shawl based for beginners. She also did a tutorial video on her YouTube channel in aiding you how to knit brioche, and this shawl was part and parcel of that, so that you could then go and start your first brioche shawl. So Mina kindly gifted me the pattern a little while ago, and I put it into a prize for my last knit along, and that winner didn't actually get in touch with me. So I decided to do the giveaway separately on its own, just for the shawl pattern, because I think it deserves to be knitted and it deserves to go out there. So, however, silly me has forgotten to mention it, possibly twice now. Maybe I mentioned it last time. I feel completely foolish because it's been on my show notes and I must just not have noticed it. And yeah, I think I actually sneaked it in on the end of my show notes because I realised that I'd forgot to mention it in the show episode. Silly, I know. So anyway, today I closed the giveaway group and I pulled a winner. So random.org told me out of minimum 2, maximum 19 people that have actually joined in, it generated result number 4, which, if I go onto the Ravelry group, is J Peck. I think it's Jaepeck. I'll put it on the down bar, the doodly doo. So well done, congratulations. If you get in touch with me, and then I will send Mina a message and tell her to gift you the pattern. So well done, congratulations. Yay! So let me just refresh myself. I'm enjoying a new beverage this week. I recently was trying to look for peach black tea because I've had some gifted in a package a while ago, and I fell in love with it because it tasted so much of peach that it was just, oh, it was gorgeous. And then I couldn't find any. And I also got then gifted a tea there was mango black tea, which I also really loved, and I went to search to see if I could find any more of that, and it was discontinued, and so I was really disappointed I couldn't find anything. And then on my random searches through the internet, I found that Lipton's did a peach and mango tea. So I bought myself a box, and it is gorgeous. It is a black tea with peach and mango, and it tastes like both of them, and it is divine. I absolutely love it. I'm trying to make it last a little while because I don't want it to disappear completely. So, on with things that I've been doing. I will leave my near-FO to the end, and I'll go through a couple of bits. So, after the last podcast episode, I'd decided that I was going to start knitting the Jedi Mind Trick Socks, which is by Cookie A, for the Cookie A Knit Along, which is the Cookie Jar Cal, hosted by Transistory, which is Candice, who is part and parcel of the Pimp, Heather and Phil's podcast, and also hosted by my friend Lara of the Fawn Knits, and I wanted to make these. They're gorgeous, they look awesome, they have caused me a lot of problems. Such a nice pattern, very faffy, and I started out and I was knitting on it, and to create these you kind of knit a section and you then pick up from the section below, put it inside the hole to the back of the knitting, and then you bind the couple of stitches off so it turns the work around. You'd get what I mean if I had the pattern. It is quite confusing. I've completely understood what was going on. I did it perfectly fine. Was really realising how faffy it was becoming. But then I started to get used to it a little bit, and I thought, ooh, yay. Then I kind of realised that there was a bit of a bumpy thing happening. Okay, grab the picture again. This rib section here, which you can see is slightly bumpy because there's little curved ridges. Well, it was bumping out quite a lot, and when I stuck it on my sock blocker, it wasn't stretching out, and I decided that there must be something wrong with my tension. And I checked it, and it was a few rows out. So I've never knitted any Cookie A patterns, so I wasn't sure how my tension was going to gauge up, but most sock patterns I get my gauge. But with me not being such a regular user of Cookie A's patterns, I guess that this could happen. So I decided that I should probably cast on with a smaller needle. So I casted on a little tension sample, and I checked my tension on 2.25s because I was using 2.5s as suggested, and found they were still too big. And in fact, it wasn't just my row gauge, it was also my stitch gauge. Even though my socks seemed to measure, they were coming out, my stitch gauge was coming out too big. So I went down another needle size to a 2mm and got my gauge. I recast back on. This is a long story. So a few days later, I recast back on, started knitting. Got a good portion way down the sock, I think about 3 repeats in, and I realised that this is looking a little bit small. That's funny. I've done my gauge swatch. It came out fine. Fool me. Casted on the wrong size. So, getting excited and wanting to just get it started because I'm running out of time, I cast on the wrong size, and then I got really disappointed because I had to rip it out. And I was disappointed that I'd gone through all these steps to get to that point to then do it wrong again. So I didn't cast it straight back on. I had a little bit of a mini break, or breakdown, with my knitting, it kind of made me feel like my knitting wasn't going anywhere. I'd spent the majority of my week with nothing to show for it, and I was a little bit bummed out. So I waited, and my mum's birthday was this weekend, so I actually decided that as a little project, something to do over a couple of evenings, just here and there, I'd knit her a kiwi, which I haven't got the kiwi because it's her birthday today and I gave her it as a birthday present. However, she has been sending me photo updates of it on its travels because they've gone to York for the day, and she's been sending me like pictures like the travelling gnome kind of photos of the kiwi and the car travelling to their destination, and the kiwi buying itself a Kidson bag and things, which is quite funny. I've been enjoying that. I might include some of the photos at the end. But I made her one of these kiwis, which is a pattern from Knitty, 2011 or 12. And I spotted this on Ravelry once and decided to make myself one. And this is mine. And I think he's cute. I called him Kevin. I think I showed him in the first episodes of the podcast last year because I just made him. And my mum asked specifically if she could have one, or, well, the household asked if they could have one, and I made one for Mum for her birthday. So this is Kevin. Say hello, Kev. So it kind of gave me that bit of knitting mojo again, that I wanted to actually knit on something. And I recast back on my Cookie A socks. Yay! So you see, we came back round to the Cookie A socks. So in my nice little unicorn bag, which I bought from Thimble and Fred Makes, I have, using my Easy Knits Deeply Wicked Dappled Tipper colourway, I think it is. Can't remember. I have my Cookie A socks. So these look totally weird, but I'm gonna, if I put them on my arm, you could probably see the pattern emerging. So they will need a little bit of a block, but they're coming out really well. So the only thing is, I'm storing it in my bag at the minute while I start the other leg, because I've gotten to the heel point on this one, and I'm scared that the stitches are going to drop off because I'm at the stage where I had to cast off the stitches, and then I cast some of them back on and continue with the heel and the pattern. But it's made me a bit nervous because I don't want to pull it out by accident, so I might have to make myself a couple of DPN cozies this weekend. But yeah, you can see the patterns emerging quite well. So I'm really happy with these. After all that fuss, I did the majority. I think I did all of this in one night, which was Thursday night? Yeah, Thursday evening after work. I've got the place to myself this weekend. My mister is at Download Festival, so I didn't really want to go because I like to stay cosy and warm. I'd have gone for the day, but I didn't really want to be camping all weekend. And I started my next sock. So I'm in the beginning stages, and I love how this pattern kind of, the yarn colours drift around, spiralling around the sock. I think that's totally cool. So I'm enjoying that, and these are, I've named them my dark side socks because of the colourway. It's quite dark. So I'm loving those now. I wasn't last week. My alarm just went off. Sorry about that, my alarm just went off on my phone and stopped my recording, so that's great. But I think it stopped at a good point. so I didn't have to edit too much. So the next thing that I slightly worked on this week was also, I did a little bit more on my crochet project. Just get my yarn out because it's attached. So this is the Tannery Falls top that is in the newest Pom Pom magazine. You can see the little photo in the corner there. So it's super pretty, and I'm not hugely far into it, but I'm getting there. I did another repeat onto it and it's starting to get longer, so it's starting to take a while to do. But I've got quite a bit done. I can't really show you because I'm in my rocking chair. Sorry. So yeah, I've got quite a bit done and I'm happy with it so far. I'm not very fast at crocheting, and I seem to be picking this up when I have a bit of time or when I fancy it, or like on the night that I did this repeat was when I was watching Eat, Pray, Love with Julia Roberts, and I got quite a number of hours of crocheting time, and I decided that because it was quite a hot, warm evening, that the cotton and silk would be perfect to work on. So that was that, and I'm using the Ito Japanese yarns, the Kino base, and this is the chili pepper colourway, and I'm also using the Ito Men base in the natural colourway, and this is the cotton, but it's a really soft cotton. You can kind of tell that it's really soft looking. So that's that, and that's being kept in my, I always say this the wrong way around, so we'll get it right this time, Knit and Stitch Bits bag with my lovely arrows. I love this bag. It's perfect, it fits it in, it's squishy, and I'm crocheting using my black Knit Pro crochet hook with its soft handle, which I really like these because I like that it's got a big grip on it. I don't like the small metal ones. I can't seem to, I don't know, they just don't sit nicely in my hand, and I like to be able to have a bit of movement but a good sizable grip. So that's that. So I haven't done a huge amount this week. I say I've done quite a lot this week. I didn't really do much last week, so this week I'm catching up with all of my projects. So I've been doing more on my ruby dress. So if you remember, I started this a few weeks back, and I showed you the progress that I'd made, and I told you that the skirt I'd cut wrongly on a different grain line. I don't think you can tell actually too badly that it's on a different grain line, but it is. I've waited 3 weeks for my fabric shop to tell me that they're getting this 100% cotton in, the same kind, because it's kind of a lightweightish feeling cotton. Anyway, it's not like a quilting cotton, it's a little bit lighter than that, but it's not like poly cotton. It's really nice, but I've been waiting for them to get some in, and they actually said to me 2 weeks and we'll have some in. And then I went back and asked, and they pretty much laughed at me, saying that if you check whatever evening, it might be here, it might not be. And I was like, well, that's no good for me. Kind of want to know when I can get my dress finished. And I asked again yesterday, and they still didn't have any cotton in. She also then sold me some black, slightly thicker cotton to see if that would do, but it doesn't do when you've got half a skirt in the other cotton and half a skirt in a heavy cotton, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work. But I took it just to see the amount of difference because I didn't have my dress on me. It's a massive difference. I aren't using that. I decided in the end that I'm not going to wait weeks more to wait for this miraculous cotton to show up, and decided that I was just going to carefully hem the two pieces, because if I told you that I had the front piece I recut because when I'd sewn it, it started to buckle slightly. Well, I thought I could use my other two pieces that I'd cut wrongly if I'm careful about hemming it and I don't stretch it as I'm feeding it through the machine. So rather than feeding it through and pulling it at the other end, which stretches it out, I just fed it in carefully, and it's actually worked. It hasn't stretched it out at all. I just get this and show you. I haven't hemmed it yet, so this is kind of finished, kind of not. But look, it hasn't really buckled the fabric. Yay! So I'm glad I just decided to bugger it and use these two pieces because I really want this dress done. So I've got my two back skirt pieces in and my zip, yay, which was a pain in the bottom. Invisible zips aren't as easy as you think to put in, even with a visible zipper foot. I'd put the zipper foot on, I'd start sewing, and I was carefully holding it tightly at both sides, and it'd still slip out, or it'd sew slightly too close to the zip that the zip wouldn't close or open. I'd have to rip it, pull it back out the seam and redo it, and I think I did this possibly about 8 times in total, if not on both sides, on one of the sides or the other, and it was getting a bit frustrating. So once I got one side in, it wasn't as close as I liked this side, but once it was in and it was near enough, I decided I don't care, and then I did the opposite side, which I actually got closer to than I thought, which was really super pleasing. So as you can see, one's slightly off to the other one. If the first one had turned out probably that good, but I wasn't going to do another 9 attempts to figure out, because yeah, I just got really frustrated with it. So this is the dress, and I managed to seam in my zipper really quite nicely. I'm just actually really chuffed with this, and it fits perfectly. In fact, if you give me a minute, I will slip it on for you and show you. I'll be right back. So I've just slipped it on over my other dress, but as you can see, it fits perfectly. I actually took in the side edges because they were actually quite baggy when I popped it on, so it was easier to tell once I had the zip in that this was actually looser. So what I then did was, because I'd kind of tacked in the sides together rather than fully seaming, just so that I could see when I got the zip in whether it was right, I just unpicked the tacking and pinned it together where needed. Evenly at each side, I put the dress on a hanger, and I measured, because I looked and it looked about 1 inch-ish. So I took 1 inch in at each side and then graded it in at the waist because it needed a bit of tapering in, and it's come out perfect. Look how good that is. And when I tried it, I pinned it, tried it on, it was actually the most perfect fit I could ever have achieved. So I went with it. I took it off the hanger, I sewed it in, sewed it all the way through my facing, and yeah, super happy with it. Perfect fit. I love the back. And I also added the additional, which they are quite small to get my hands in. I have to kind of sneak them in a little bit. This one I have a bit of trouble because my hand gets stuck part way as I'm wriggling. But look, there you go. I've got pockets in my dress. So the only last bit that I need to do is the hemming on the skirt. So that dress I've been making for the Yangasm Sew along for 2016 summer, and she's doing that in her Yangasm Podcast Group. And I don't think I'll have time now to make a second garment because I've been waiting weeks for the black cotton. However, there is some fabric in the fabric shop that I really like, and it's got scissors on it, and I'm thinking I might make a t-shirt top for summer, so I might be able to quickly get one of those out next weekend and pop it in the cal if possible. But I really wanted to make a dress, not only because Kristen and Katie, Kristen of Yangasm and Katie of Inside 23 are so inspiring with all the dresses and things that they've been making, but because last year I struggled to find clothes in the summer and dresses in the summer that really fit me the way I liked things to fit, that made me feel comfortable wearing these garments and made me feel comfortable about myself as well, which I know probably doesn't, I swear it matters to us all how we feel in our clothes. If you don't look right to yourself, you don't feel right to yourself, and it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, it matters to you. And therefore I want to be able to make things so that I can feel happy in my wardrobe and in what I wear and feel confident. And making this dress has only made that feel more so, because I'm so excited now. Just how I feel in that dress, I feel gorgeous, I feel amazing, because I feel I've made this and nobody can take that away from me. This is handmade, this is what I've made, it fits me, it fits my contours perfectly, and it won't fit anybody else as well as it fits for me because it's made to my figure. But I just love the dress, and it makes me feel confident and just great. It makes you feel great because you've made it as well, and there's no better feeling than that. And so I really want to make my own clothes and my own wardrobe now. Just sewing, knitting, it's just something that I really want to do. So my next project is to make another dress pattern, which will be this one. And when I was looking at my fabric shop yesterday, which is only a discount fabric shop, they had a khaki and black houndstooth fabric. Could you imagine? It's quite small houndstooth, but I think it'd look totally cool, especially with some little black boots. So that's going to be my next dress that I'm planning to make. And it's a Gertie pattern as well. I think I mentioned this last time. So I'm really looking forward to starting that. So that's my next sew project. What else? Acquisitions. So this week I bought myself a little treat because I've had so many expenses with dentists and things like that, and now my foot as well, because I've had to spend a lot of money on bus travel and a new foot compress, so that I can actually walk like a normal person and not be in agony. But before that, I decided I deserved a little treat because I could afford £10 basically, or $10 to treat myself to one of these stitch marker cases, which I think while I was waiting for mine as well, I found that Laura from the Ford Knits had also got the same one. So this is a grapefruit one. I bought this from Hey Holly Ho Hum. She's got a beautiful shop full of yarns and fibre, and stitch markers. There was a little panda stitch marker that I would have fallen in love with. It was so cute. But this is totally cool, and you can see I filled up some compartments already. You press the button and it's, I shouldn't have done it while it was laid down because I've now got a marker stuck. See if I can do it that way. It spins around. Da da da. Totally cool. Absolutely love it. And she even sent me a little, I might have to spin round to get to it. One second. This one. She even sent me a little stitch marker as well, so it wasn't lonely. Look how cute this is. It's a little like diamante tree with a little flower on it. How sweet. It's a little progress keeper. So thank you, because it's so sweet and adorable. She also sent me one of my favourite teas, which is a stash tea, which we don't have really over here. And it was the chocolate and hazelnut decaf flavour. It's totally nice. It totally tastes like chocolate. I love it. And she sent some little sweets as well, which didn't last very long. I devoured those. So I really got excited about this because then I could organise all my stitch markers and progress keepers and have somewhere to put my fancy ones. I have a little tin for my plasticky ones, my little lock stitch keepers, stitch markers, but I really wanted something for my fancy ones to sit in where they're a bit more organised. And then today I also went on Etsy recently. It's nearly the end of the month, so I get paid like in a few days basically, and because I didn't have loads of food shopping to get in because my mister is away for like 5 days, I only had to afford food for me and a little bit of spare cash to do something with over the weekend. So I decided that the rest of the money I could buy more yarn. Is that bad? Possibly. So I spent my last little bit of pennies on this gorgeous skein because I couldn't help myself. Seems a little bit blurred out, but it's because it's so neon-y. But look how gorgeous it is. Stunning, or what? So this is from Quing Fibres, which is on Etsy, and it's a UK seller based in London. And this is a super soft base, which is a merino cashmere blend. It did actually have the percentages on, however, I sent her a message because it actually said that it was Blueface Leicester and nylon, and I thought maybe she's got the base wrong, but she just put the wrong sticker label on. So we're fine. But how awesome is this? I love speckled yarns, and I am so glad that finally there is a funky indie dyer in the UK that is doing really crazy speckled yarns. So if you haven't seen her Etsy store, you should go and check it out. She has quite regular updates, and it's totally worth going and having a look. But I can't wait to make something with this. I'm not even sure what I'm gonna make yet. I'm tempted to save it for a shawl to go into something speckled and crazy, but we'll have to see because minds can change. But I absolutely love it. I love how these neons into the light blue sometimes make like a slight lime colour, but there's then little peachy speckles and pink speckles hidden in there. It's just really sweet. I think it's gorgeous. Yeah, it's just stunning. I absolutely love this. I got this morning, so I got super excited. And then other things that I've gotten this week is basically my new foot compressors for my bad foot. So thank you everybody who sent me such lovely messages and lovely ideas on how to ease my condition, situation. Some websites say it's classed as a condition. A lot of people don't get over it that quickly. It can take months for the ligament in my foot to heal, I've heard. And also, people can have this for years. Yikes. I kind of have a good idea of what's caused it. However, after a week, after my last podcast, that week I pretty much managed to rest it up, and then that weekend I'd been to my mum's in the car. I think I may have pottered about a little bit as normal, but probably maybe not being as gentle as I should have been, and my foot swelled back up again. I can't live like that. I can't walk constantly like... It just doesn't work. It looks silly. I am walking like... I must look so strange to people because I am trying to walk really cautiously with one foot, but I'm fine with the other. I look like a limpy, weird... I don't know. But I'm sure people judge. However, I can't really get about either. I can only walk like maybe about an hour before my foot decides to ache and give in or swell up, as it seems. So I decided to read up online some reviews of compressors, and I found that there was a certain sock compress with highly rated reviews. The only down-rated reviews were because the people had picked the wrong size for their foot, which it gives you measurements for, and you measure the instep of your foot, which, being a sock knitter, I know what an instep is and I know how to measure it. So I picked the right size. I got a medium size for my foot, and I'm wearing one right now. Da, 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 da. So basically it's this little thing. You get a pack of 2 and they're about £30, but the people that had reviewed them had said that they'd had the condition for months, years. One lady even had it for a couple of years, but they raved that after using it that they were pretty much back to normal again and could walk and run, and basically it had given them their life back. And to be fair, I don't want to be in agony all the time, so £30? Yes please, I will buy one. And Boots had an offer on, and they were only £23. So I grabbed a pack, because you get a pair in a pack, which means I can wash one, wear one. So I'll wear it for a couple of days because it's got an antibacterial fabric, so that it is fine to wear for a few days and then you can wash it. So I've invested, basically, and for the past couple of days I haven't had to limp places, which is a relief. It basically contracts all of your foot together tightly so that all of your foot is in the correct position, and it helps it heal in that position, but I can still walk and move, and it isn't really affecting it. Yeah, I get the odd couple of aches, and so I take a rest for maybe an hour, but I managed to actually bob out yesterday, come home. I managed to do quite a few number of jobs on my feet for a couple of hours, and then it started to feel a little bit like I needed to have a sit down for a little bit, and I probably had about half an hour to an hour and I could walk around again. It's like heaven in a sock. So I'm really glad that I invested in this, because it means that I can get about again, and I might even be able to walk to work on Monday and actually come back home from work, because the rest of the time while I'm at work I am pretty much with my feet up. So if I do that, I can still get my exercise that I need. I am so chuffed that I've got these socks. I hate the idea of just, I'm in my home but I live in town but I can't really get about in town long enough before I have to come home because I'm in agony. Because it is quite painful when it comes on, especially if it starts to swell up. It is so tender and sore. And so for yesterday and today, I've been able to walk again. Thank God. So I've been wearing this compress pretty much all day for both of the days, and then on a night I take it off so that my foot can have a bit of a breathe and a rest from being contracted into such a small space. But they are working, such a treat, and thank you so much. I don't know what I had done if I hadn't have researched these, to be honest, because I can just imagine that years down the line I would still be in pain trying to wear supportive shoes and still being in the same pooey situation of walking and resting every 2 minutes because I can't get about, which is not what a young person wants. So I am relieved finally. So thank you for all of your suggestions. I am still doing my stretches of my foot, and I still am icing my foot kind of, because in the warm weather it's been kind of nice to have cool feet, so I've been still sneaking the ice packs under my desk to cool myself down. If the rest of me can't be cool, it kind of works its way through you, doesn't it, when if you make your feet cold, the rest of you will cool a little bit. So I've still been using ice packs even though I don't really need to. But yeah, overall, I'm feeling a bit more positive. So here's to the future and foot therapy. Then on to reading, because I've been reading not as much this past couple of weeks because my reading tends to be done when I walk to work. So you'll probably know that I haven't really had time going on the bus. I can't read while I travel because I get very nauseous. So I've been reading the Star Wars book, which I kind of put aside for a little bit because I'd watched the movie quite recently to starting to read the book. I felt like in my mind I remembered too much and I was kind of replaying the film while I was reading, which isn't a bad thing, but I just felt like I was chugging through it, if you know what I mean. I wasn't fully enjoying it as I could be if I have waited. So I'm halfway through, which I thought was kind of a reasonable part to put it aside for a little while. And then I've only got half of it to finish. So while I did that, I decided I'd pick up a book that seemed more like a pick up and put down bedside read, so I could just read a few pages and it not mean too much to have to pick it back up again. So I'm reading the How to Be a Woman by Caitlin Moran, and if you haven't read this, you should. It's quite a feminist related book. It's all about growing up and being how to be a woman, how to become a woman, how we are women. It's pretty much based around being a woman, but it is hilarious. There hasn't been more than a few pages in between a page where I haven't laughed my hat off. I'm not kidding. It is just too funny. All of you should go out and get a copy. I bought mine from secondhand. I'm sure you can find it somewhere. But this lady is hilarious. If you're not sure who Caitlin Moran is, she recently wrote a TV series which I think has been broadcasted possibly only in the UK, but it's called Raised by Wolves. And if you are in the UK, you should watch that too, because that is just too funny. It's kind of a similar feel to reading about her growing up, but it's just such a good read. It's about her growing from being an adolescent into a woman and finding out about things and how it's kind of empowered her, and finding yourself basically as a woman, but how Caitlin Moran has gone about finding how she's a woman, and it's just bloody good. You need to read it. This is like the profanity station today, isn't it? I think I've said bloody and bugger, possibly poo. I am sorry, because I'm just like... And then I've gotten a couple of other books. So from secondhand I found a edition of Gail Carriger's Heartless, which I read soulless quite recently, and this is a few more books down the line, so this is going to go and be book stashed basically for a later date. So that's this one. But the soulless book was so funny and I loved it so much that I thought I couldn't not pick it up. And then my partner's best friend we went to visit recently, and she started getting to reading a little bit, so she'd read this book and passed it on to me and said that it's really good. It's called Fishbowl, and basically this fish gets dropped out of the window and it's what it sees on its way down, apparently, and it's lots of little well, she told me to like read it, but basically it's got little stories that kind of come together. But I kind of really like the idea of that, so that'll be a really nice read. So I'm saving that as well. I kind of like this as well. In fact, as you go through the book, the fish gets further down the edge of the page. He lands in a pool of water though, which is nice to know, because at least, you know, he's not gone splat. So that's all I have for this week's episode, and I don't think it's been too short. I hope it hasn't. But thank you for coming back and spending some time with me, and I think in a couple of weeks' time I will be podcasting again, and I will hopefully have the release of my new pattern. Well, new pattern. It'll be a re-released pattern. It's already up on Ravelry if you want to go over there, but you can't have it yet because I've taken the download down, because I'm rejuvenating and rewriting the pattern, and lots of lovely test knitters have been test knitting the pattern and have got gorgeous versions of their socks going around on Instagram, and they are all amazing. So thank you very much if you are a test knitter. I'm super proud of you all for helping me. You're awesome. So basically I will be hoping to start the knit along. I think I'll be having it released hopefully on the 25th of September, which should be the podcast day too, and I'll be hoping to cast on with you all another pair of the High Heart Bee socks, because I've got some perfect yarn, which is golden sparkly. So yeah, so come back for next episode and I will see you then.